Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Rockstarflipper YouTube channel. Today is Monday. It is a new week, and after my video from the other day about all the new vintage dresses and clothing that I got, which are over there, we're working on them. There's the pile. Give me a second. I'll move the camera for you guys to see. There it is. Yep, we got a bunch of free, basically, that were bound for the Goodwill donation bags of some vintage clothing from somebody that I'm an acquaintance with. And I got a little bit of hate on that video. People saying I was doing the wrong thing, that those clothes were intended for, Goodwill, nonprofit, all that. Whether, a lot of people know it or not, the Goodwill CEO and the executives at Goodwill get paid quite a hefty penny. They do a phenomenal job of giving back to the community. Don't get me wrong, Goodwill has a lot of great programs, but this was somebody that I know, and it's not like they sat them outside of the Goodwill and I took them. I got them before they even put them in their car to take them to Goodwill. So, this channel is about making money and good business decisions and good business choices. And for me, that was a good business choice. Somebody said they were taking stuff to the Goodwill. I jumped in and said I'd be interested, and they said fine. If they had asked me to pay for it, I probably would have given them a few dollars. And because I know them, I'll probably give them a gift card to dinner, or I'll take them out to dinner or something as a thank you. But in the meantime, it was a good business choice, a good money-making decision, which is what this channel is about. So I don't have any regrets about doing it. And for anybody that has a problem with that, I'm sorry, but this is one I'm not going to back down off of. Anyways, with that being said, I had a few great comments and messages regarding consignment. People were asking what if they had asked me to consign these for them, which is something that I don't typically do, and it's something that I probably won't do a lot of in the future. It kind of falls under my drop shipping theory. It's not nearly as dangerous or as bad or risky, but consignment is basically, for those of you that don't know, when somebody gives you a bunch of merchandise that they don't want to do the work on, you get it for free. You sell the merchandise and you agree on a split of what you're going to get for doing the work. Essentially, most splits are like 25 to 50%. If you remember those stores where people had the sell your eBay stuff, you could take your stuff in, drop it off to them, they would sell it on eBay, and 30 days later you'd be paid. That's basically the same principle. So how do I feel about consignment deals? That's a great question. And why do I feel that way? So consignment is kind of a numbers game. And there's three numbers that you have to keep in mind with consignment. And these are reasons that consignment scares me off. The plus side of consignment is not paying for merchandise, which is great. The bad side of consignment is as follows. What is your time worth? Time and effort spent on selling the merchandise. Number two is the return rate. Remember, when you sell merchandise and you pay a customer, if something gets charged back or returned at a later time, the responsibility is on you. And third is the feedback number, which is how much risk are you willing to put your account in. Now, granted, the merchandise should be, regardless of what it is, you should be able to list it and customer service it properly to not risk the feedback. So that should be minimal. But the return rate could be a problem. Hopefully the returns are low. Again, that's up to you to describe the merchandise right. But if there are returns, that's on you. And that comes up to a risk tolerance level. And then, of course, the money. So I'm going to start with the big number of the money that people are, talking about with consignment. How much can you make? Well, I'm just going to go off of the fact that majority of us are clothing sellers. And let's assume that we could do a $20 average sale price for clothing. Assuming you can maintain that $20 average. I've done it. You guys know I like my little notebooks. I've done the numbers here. And feel free to screenshot this. I'll put it down in the description box as well. But on a $20 sale, PayPal, let me see if I can kind of put this up here. PayPal is going to take an 88-cent fee. eBay is going to take $1.80, and if you're top rated, that's top rated, of course, 9%. And they're going to take 10 cents to list it. I know you get free listings, but we're just going off of the 10 cent to list it. And then let's say it's a normal clothing item that we ship first class for $277. Now all these numbers can obviously change with what the item is. But assuming that is right on the average item, they're going to take $5.55 in fees. You're going to be left with a $14.45 in your pocket in PayPal. If you start with $0 in PayPal and you sell this item, that's what you will have, $14.45. Transfer that to your bank account. And essentially, depending on your split, if you do 30%, you get to keep $4.33. If you do 50%, you'll get to keep $7.22. Now, what is that worth in time-wise to list an item? Well, we all know it takes a few minutes, 5, 6, 8 minutes to list an item, plus the shipping time, plus any kind of customer service time. So you're talking, 15, 20 minutes worth of total time on an item, basically. Let's say you can handle, let's just say 4 items per hour. Well, if you're doing the 50% split and you can do 4 items an hour, you can make $30 an hour, $28 to $30 an hour. At 30%, probably not worth your time. So you would have to try to maintain a 50% split with the customer, especially when we start factoring in the rate of return, knowing that we're going to get 2% return rate. If you're only making, $7 or $4 an item at 30%, it's not going to be worth your time. If you're making 7, it may be worth your time at 50% split. If I was going to do it personally, I wouldn't even consider less than 50. I would almost consider it being a 70% for me, 30% for them, which most customers probably wouldn't go for. The reason being is just the risk is too high and the amount of money needs to be well worth it. So if you're going to get into the consignment game, those are numbers that you should probably consider. Feel free, again, to screenshot this. And you guys can do the math on your own. You know the 2.9% and the 30-cent transaction, the 9% top-rated seller fee discount, and then your shipping cost. Obviously, the other thing is if you could get higher priced items from people, and you could probably offer a lower 30 or 40% cut, because if you're selling a $50 or $60 or $70 item and you end up making $20 as your cut, that might be worth it. So it's either going to have to be a higher percent cut for your fee, or it's going to have to be a higher dollar item average. That's on a 20. That number that I just did was a $20 average. So a lot of people asked about consignment after the last video. They sent me a few messages. I had a couple emails, and I know a few people probably didn't ask who were curious about it. So that's my kind of numbers, basic math explanation of consignment. Do I intend on doing it in the future? Probably not. For those of you that have watched my videos for a while, you probably know that I like to buy the merchandise and bring it in. I would just rather own it and not have to worry about paying someone. If the return happens, it's on me. If there's a customer service issue, it's on me. And that's just how I feel about that. So I recommend outright owning the merchandise as opposed to consigning it. The other problem that you're going to have, and remember this, the accounting. You're going to have to keep track of all that. I imagine if you had one person or two people, it's okay. But if you had 15, 20, 30 customers, it could become a logistical accounting nightmare. So another thing I would not want anything to do with. I hate accounting as it is. So adding more work and more you would have to do individual bin and inventory locations. The listings would have to have that person's identification in it so you know when it sells, it's theirs. Paying them every 30 days after you get paid and keeping track of their inventory for what could be months. No, thank you. Buy the merchandise and own it, or get it given to you, however you got to get it. But I wouldn't recommend the consignment deal. If that's something you want to tackle, I would love to hear about it. If you already do consignment, please leave it down in the comment section below. Tell me how you operate it, how it works for you, how much money you do, how many items a month you sell, or feel free to message me, email me. Either way is fine. But that's just a little breakdown of eBay Consignment. Hopefully that clears it up for you guys. Hopefully that makes a decision a little easier to make if you were kind of leaning towards going that way. So I'll let you guys go with that. As always, down in the description box below, I'll put some of this basic math down there for you guys. And if you need the social media links, they are down there as well. And all of my Amazon and eBay store links are below as well if you need any of that equipment. I didn't even use my lighting kit tonight. I feel like I'm off. So if I'm not as bright, you guys know why. Have a wonderful Monday, and I will see you again real soon.